Hello there. Welcome to A Child Wife, Her Life, and the Love Test Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. And we just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Man, I mean, the previous episode was the bomb, was it not? But today's segment, we want to talk about the beauty in the bushes. Okay? And for those who do not know me, this is your first time tuning in. I am Renda Horn. I go by Coach Renda Horn. I am a wife life, marriage and relationship coach, along with my husband, Richard Horn. Also, too, we're authors. I am a co-author I'm author of several books, but a co-author of the book Don't Divorce Over Corned Beef and Cabbage. Go from a marital mess to a marriage that is blessed. Okay? And what we've been doing here, we've been digging into family issues, family background, family attacks, so to speak. And a lot of times we are dealing with things individually or in a personal division of our family. Say you marry someone and now you start your own family, and you're dealing with some issues that are really generationally connected. I have my beautiful family here, and we're going back to our roots, and we're going to get and dig into some things. So we want to unearth some things and deal with some things, unpack some things, and get some things corrected so we can shut and lock that door so the enemy doesn't attack us in those same areas that he may have had some victories with our parents and our forefathers. Okay? All right, because we start a new thing, right? This is a new thing. God is doing a new thing, okay? So I want to have my family introduce themselves briefly. Let's start here.
Hi, my name is Rachel Horn. I'm a stay-at-home daughter first. After that, immediately after, I am a personal shopper and stylist for celebrities, and I do content on TikTok.
All right, that's my beautiful daughter. My other beautiful daughter, Lil Renda.
I'm Renda Jr. Renda Boyd, and I'm a Christian content creator, fashion content creator, model, and internet personality, honestly, and a dog mom full time.
And a psalmist.
And a psalmist. She gets that more than me.
Okay.
I'd be forgetting that about myself, but yes.
Hello, my name is Rashar Horn Parker. I am a wife. I am an interior designer in New York City, and I'm also a real estate agent.
All right, that's my other beautiful daughter. Next, we have my bestie. All right, my sister from another mister. This is Miss Leisha.
I am Leisha Funches. I am a minister of the gospel. I am also the owner and founder of a nonprofit called Feeding Families by Faith, and we're in Michigan.
All right. Next, we have, last but definitely not least, my amazing, beautiful niece. I was about to say daughter. Niece, daughter. Miss Maya Angela.
Hi, I am Maya Montgomery or Maya Angela Montgomery. I am a mom, a wife, a minister. I'm a psalmist, and I'm a Christian influencer on social media. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I just love my family. I have such a beautiful family, as I'm sure most of you do have a beautiful family. But how many of us know that it doesn't always go so smoothly in the relationships with our family? And we want to unpack and deal with some of those things too, all right? But to do that, we got to kind of get to the bottom of some things. We got to go back in the past sometimes and unearth some things that, we may have overlooked, missed, or totally ignored, okay? So we're going to start, and this segment is going to be, we're dealing with what I call the beauty in the bushes, okay? And the first part is going to be 3 parts, but the first part is when you're feeling held back or hidden. You're feeling hidden or held back. So we're going to start with Maya. Maya, when I say that, what does that mean to you? Like, how could that resonate with you? Maybe not now, but at some time in the past even.
Do you mean like if God is hiding you or holding you back from something, or if you're holding yourself back?
There you go. Either or.
Okay. I think being hidden or held back is sometimes we can get in our own way. God can have things set up for you, opportunities, doors set up for you. And if you don't trust him, if you don't obey him, if you don't do the things he tells you to do, you can miss out on opportunities that God has in store for you. And in seasons where you're supposed to be shining, where people are supposed to see what God has put in you, it's hidden because nobody sees you in the places where you're supposed to be. And so I think it's so important, especially when God tells us to step out on faith with our ideas and visions and things that he gives us, that we step out on faith, because our gift will make room for us and God will allow doors to open up for you. So that's what it means when I hear that, being hidden, but you're not forgotten, I guess. That makes sense. So yeah, that's what that means to me.
Hey, that's great, because that's really very well spoken in what you mentioned. Sometimes, we feel held back by God when God is saying no differently. Hold on, daughter. Wait. Hold on. I got this for you. I got that man for you. I got that husband for you. I have that business for you. I have that degree for you. I have motherhood for you. I have singlehood for you that you're enjoying, to travel or whatever the case may be. So, Rachel, you being single, what does that mean for you when how have you ever felt held back? And if so, in what way?
Just bouncing off of what Maya said, when just being obedient. I firsthand have had many lessons in that department, because just growing up and me being me, I can be very impulsive. I can just kind of do things at the spur of the moment without thinking about them, or kind of just doing things my own way, and kind of just like, being young and just being adventurous and a creative. Your mind is always racing and you're always just willing and wanting to do so much. So like being in the bushes, I would just give an example. Just me growing up and always wanting to move to Los Angeles and actually getting to do it. But then just getting distracted and just not kind of following and obeying what I prayed for, and then having to be pulled back and back in the bushes is just kind of was the hardest part for me, and like a big learning lesson in my life. Just not really being obedient at a certain point in my life, and not really stewarding over things that I prayed for or was blessed with. So when you get back in that season where you're back in the bushes, you kind of like are thankful, because I did have some realization, like, okay, maybe I wasn't ready for that in that season of my life, and I can grow in that area. But it can be very lonely and depressing, if you let the enemy, depress you. But it's not always a bad thing. I will always say just stay prayed up and just keep focused on your goals, I guess, in that season.
All right. And Renda, can you share with us an experience you may have had, a similar experience? And also let us know, give us a strategy and how to best overcome that.
Definitely before I even went into content creation, I was much more comfortable just playing with the camera and just being a funny voice, like just being somebody that was like, I would
Kind of like behind the scenes.
behind the scenes. I would encourage other people to be in front of the camera, other people to do. I want to be behind the scenes. Like I didn't want to have anything to do with that to a full extent or on a serious note. But then I was feeling conflicted about where God wanted me, and I back in the earlier days of me just kind of like working at Panera or something, and I'm like, I'm just working, and I played on like TikTok. Before TikTok was TikTok, it was Musically, and I was playing on that, and I don't know, I just one day had someone ask me a question spiritually, and because I would mention my faith here and there, but I used to make funny videos, and I answered this question, and then a video blew up from there, and people kept asking me more questions from that, and I'm like, dang, this gives me joy, this fulfills me, like I feel more seen in my calling, and I feel like this is more of what I'm supposed to do than what I thought I didn't know that this was where God wanted me. So I just kept continuing to answer. And then it's like, I'm seeing celebrities, contact or follow me and stuff like that. I'm like, wait, God, do you want me to be a voice of reason to even people who have even a bigger platform, or to have, a fan base, or like a broad road of people following them, and God is like, but you're that broad, you have a broad road of people following you too, you know, so you have to be that. And I found that I was hidden for a reason. God was literally stirring up something great in me in those seasons where I just was, you know, playing behind the scenes, but he was fixing me up to be in front of the scenes and to be that voice of reason and have a transformative platform. So I feel like that was my time, and I always will tell people, like, if it's what I learned from my dad, if it's something you would do and you don't need to get paid for it and you genuinely enjoy doing it, that's probably a part of your calling, that's your passion. And I enjoyed making the videos that I did. Naturally, I wasn't making money, I wasn't getting all these sort of, you know, sponsorships or deals or anything from it. It was something I truly enjoyed doing, and it still fulfills me, whether I'm getting paid or not, whether I get opportunities or not. So I always say, if it's something that you genuinely enjoy doing on a spare moment, nobody has to be like, oh, I need you for this time, I want to book you for this. It's just like I'm doing this because I love it. That's something that you should recognize as your calling, you know. Yeah, that's what I would say.
And I'm glad you spoke of that because, like you said, you were first comfortable behind the camera because you did a lot of behind the camera and technical things.
Yeah.
But can you expound on some of the rewards of, you know, allowing God, balancing that thing where you were in the bushes and you're waiting on God, or, you know, and then God brings you to the forefront, some of those rewards of not just jumping out there, but just waiting on him. He brings you to the forefront, and then bam, you end up in what? Vogue magazine, right?
Yeah, like
so let's speak about that.
I'm not really one to speak about big accomplishments like that because I have an issue with feeling like that's the biggest accomplishment. I always feel like that's not really enough. Like, and God has to work on me with that, where I'm just like, oh, that's good, but you know, but it's like God has, you know, I have to be content in the blessings that He gives me, and see it as a true blessing and definitely a source of, you know, of how hard I work. Like, you know, it's a evidence of how much time and effort I put into it. So I've been able to meet amazing people. I've been in incredible scenes, like in crowds and events, and store and so
on a billboard in Soho.
She's literally on like this big picture on a store in Soho in New York City for a huge jewelry brand.
Thank you. I've
Which
gotten some
featured
relations.
her in Vogue magazine, The Vogue.
Let me ask you this: how did it feel to see yourself in Vogue magazine, British as well as American Vogue? How did that feel? And I say that because, you know, He will shine His light through you. And sometimes that's hard to you get kind of taken back, like, well, wait a minute, that's me. I want to make sure that I stay in the will of God. And it's okay. That's what God wants to do. So how did that make you feel briefly?
Honestly, it made me see, like, even when I wasn't being recognized in my more hidden times of the season, I was still always pushing forth, and I really put so much time and effort into this. Like, I really made sure that even when I was posting on Instagram, that I was doing it consistently. And that's where I got discovered, you know, because it was like, oh, wow, I just was doing it for myself and my own true enjoyment. So it was, and
that so that kind of opened the door to modeling opportunities for you.
It opened the door to modeling opportunities. And then even with me going to New York, and when I went to New York, and then somehow all these things, I end up at the Met Gala after party, and you know, and I'm like, it's just weird how sometimes God wants you put in certain predicaments, and not all sceneries are even the most brightest sceneries. And it's like, sometimes God puts you as a sheep among wolves, and you have to be that light in those atmospheres where I'm like, wow, God, you're using me in ways that I'm a little bit afraid of, because there's sometimes there aren't always angels around me or people who are wanting to listen. There's sometimes truly demons around me, and I have to be strong-willed and have to be confident in this area. So, and God have used me in certain ways where He's like, I'm going to use you with this person. I'm like, wow, you know, this is huge. And it sometimes does feel like a burden because,
well, you know,
yeah.
And the reason why I'm kind of highlighted that with you right now is because I remember when you were a little girl and you loved dance, and you and Rachel loved dance. You were great at it. But I remember saying, stay true to God, stay close to God, you know, be careful as to what it is you're, committing yourself to when it comes to that, because it's fine to enjoy the arts, to love the arts, but you want to make sure that God's art is expressed through you.
Right.
And the thing was, I remember saying, I promise you, if you stay true to God, if you have him, he'll have you. And praying in the behind the scenes, Lord, please. But to see the fruit of your labor, to see the fruit of my prayers come to fruition is such a blessing. And that's why I wanted you to highlight that too, because that encourages people who are, maybe loving the arts, but want to stay true to Christ, and they're going, but how's that going to benefit me?
And they always think that it's going to be all glitz and glam all the time. It's just so not. Because it's so much. It truly can sometimes feel like a burden because you're like, there's so many people that watch me. There's so many people that ask me questions daily, constantly DMs, constantly messaging, constantly. And it's like, you want to answer everybody, but you can't. And it's like, also, you mess up, somebody could get confused message, or it can be,
or just take something the wrong way.
Take something the wrong way, And so you have all these people on your hands to really make sure you show up in the right way for them and truly follow what God is wanting you, how God is wanting to use you as a light for those people.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, so
that is wonderful. Thank you so much for expounding on that. All right, and I want to ask you, Rashar, feeling froggish and ready to leap prematurely when it comes to, the bushes. God made you beautiful, God made you confident, but you're in the bushes. And you like, I'm ready to go, God. I'm ready to go. And God is saying, no, beautiful, hold on. I need you to stay in the bushes a little bit. Tell us how, even in the last year, that took a lot of prayer and balancing your emotions not to leap too soon.
Okay, so I think the first thing to realize is that there is so much beauty in those bushes. Like, you hear it, but you need to really realize that there is so much beauty in those bushes. So you need to even have beauty in your decision making and self-control in all of those fruits of the spirit. Because I remember my boyfriend, I've been dating him since high school, so we were with each other, 5 years by that time. And he was like, hey, I got a job in New York. And I was like, go. And he was like, are you coming with me? I said, no. And I had just started college, or I was in my last 2 years of college, my last 2 years. And he was like, you're really not going to come with me? I said, no. Because in that moment, I have to teach myself self-respect, self-control. Because, it wouldn't have been good for me to leap too soon and go live with him unwed. And, we wouldn't even be here married now, And so I stayed and I went and I finished my last 2 years of school and we were apart. Of course, I went every other week, but that still was hard because I went from being with him every single day till not. So it was a lot of mental attacks there, or I lost, that support system and honestly that peace that he brings my whole body, that peace. I lost that, seeing that every single day. So that was really hard. And then when I was in college, I really was agitated with who I was surrounded around because it was always like the ceiling was here. And I was just so big and expressive, and I've always been that way. And like my Auntie Alicia would say, they just don't understand you. And I felt very, very misunderstood in that environment and very irritated because my projects would look different. I would design differently. And I would talk to other people, and they would say, but I don't want to stand out. I don't want to look too different. But that's everything that I am. Mm-hmm. So I felt definitely hidden, because I have this whole other life in New York waiting for me that I cannot wait to get to, but it just wasn't the right timing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it fast forward, I had said, hey, I got a few, semesters left. This is what I expect, because when it comes time to move out, I'm not moving in with anybody and I'm not married. So of course I got that engagement in the right timing, literally 2 months before I had graduated. And then I got that house and all that, everything literally aligned perfectly. within timing. So there was so much beauty in waiting. There was so much beauty in saying, no, I'm going to put me first because I'm this age and this is about me right now. You're important, but you're not, I can't make you more important than my purpose.
And definitely not more important than God.
Yes. You know, I can't, I can't do that, and then, what if I would have gotten pregnant? What if I would have never followed my dreams? What if I wasn't willing to forfeit all of those things. So within time, God gave me everything I needed. So I think you have to just understand that there is so much beauty in those bushes. There is so much beauty in self-respect. There is so much beauty in making those hard decisions, staying back 2 years while my whole life is waiting on me somewhere else.
That was awesome. That was really awesome. I remember when your now husband, I guess this is a new announcement.
Breaking news.
Newsflash. They're planning this. They planning this big, beautiful wedding, and it's still going to happen. But I love how Austin had asked you about, getting married, and you said, "Hey, don't ask me yet. If you ask me now, I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you no. I'm going to tell you no. Don't ask me until I'm not doing anything until I finish school. I'm going to finish school, and don't ask me to move in because I will not do that either. I'm going to finish school." And I love how you stuck to that. And you told him, you gave him a timeline. You said, when I'm in my last year or within my last year of school, if you want to ask me about marriage then, fine. But before that is no. And the wonderful thing about that is how he planned it for about 6 months, and you had no idea.
She was getting so impatient. She was like, "Am I gonna get proposed to?" And we all knew. We
Yeah,
all was sitting
we
there
all
like,
knew.
"I don't know."
And for those of you who may or may not have seen it,
Y'all seen
their
it.
proposal went viral on social media. It was absolutely beautiful and everything. So I just love how you put that with the beauty in the bushes, because it's so important, because that proposal came and then you ended up, tell us this real brief, because we only got a few minutes, but tell us real brief how you got married before you actually moved into New York.
Okay, so it's actually really funny. So Austin was like, I'm a little bit of the proposal. I'm going to take you on a trip. And I really didn't think that was anything different, because honestly, Austin is the planner in our relationship. Every date he plans, every single date. He's like, I'm going to take you on a date tonight. We're going to do this at this time. We're going to go here. We're going to drink this. So I thought, this is normal. Okay. And he does usually go all out for my birthday. So randomly, he's like, I'm going to take you on a trip. We go on the trip. We're skiing. It's fun. And all of a sudden, we're going to dinner on my birthday. I'm walking in the snow. I'm like, why am I walking in the snow? Like, why are we walking in the snow? I see a big heart. My family pops out. It's like, you're engaged. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So that happened. And I kid you not, literally right after, I was like, oh, we have to start looking for a place. So we end up, going and finding a place. But I wasn't married yet. I still wasn't married yet. And I knew what God told me to do. I knew God said, do not move in if you are not fully married. And I was like, you know what, Austin? We're going to go get legally married right before I graduate college. We need to be married before we move in together. And he was like, I agree. And so May 8th, we went and got legally married before we moved in together.
And when did you actually graduate?
I graduated May 9th. Yep.
And then when did you actually move
May
out?
10th.
I moved out May 10th. Because
All
I was
right.
ready. Yes.
That was awesome, Rashard. That was awesome. We had to give him a hand clap on that one. But that was awesome. And I love that you were able to, calm yourself, balance yourself, and say, hey, I gotta wait. God, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna trust you, and that you could still remain confident in through Christ. How the word of God says, cast not away your confidence, for it has great recompense and reward. And you were confident not just in yourself, you were confident in Christ in you. You were confident that he was still gonna marry you, You weren't over anxious. You were confident. Hey, I'm gonna finish school. You were confident. I'm gonna get married, and you were confident. I'm gonna get the proposal I want, and God did it exceedingly abundantly and far
tenfold.
above. Yeah, and so and I love the way you encouraged and encouraged everybody. So hey, if this is you, if you somebody who's saying, hey, I want certain things, God is concerned with what you want. He loves that. He says, let me know what you want. Make your supplication known unto me. He wants to know, let him know and then let him lead you. All right. So next, I want to hear from you, Leisha. I want to hear about being that beauty in the bushes from a different standpoint. You have always been behind the scenes. You've always been someone to help out. You were my baby birthing coach for 5 of the 6 children that I birthed. And you're always an encourager. But then it came a time that God says, hey, I want you out of the bushes. It's time for you to move out the bushes, baby. And you were just not comfortable with that. You were really not comfortable with that. And it wasn't a fake humility. It was just really, you're not comfortable. Share that with us.
Well, I'm glad that you said that because I was really sitting here saying, Lord, what am I going to say? Really pondering on it as everybody is talking. And you know what? There are some times in life where God will hide you, and then there are times in life where you hide yourself. And I've hid myself for a very long time.
Yeah.
And in hiding yourself, it doesn't make you feel good because you really know you're being disobedient to God. Because you won't step out where He wants you to step out.
Yeah.
Did I have faith? Absolutely. Could I encourage? Could I support? Absolutely. But I never wanted to be in the forefront because I had played the back role for so long.
Wow.
And so now I'm in a different season in my life. When you begin to go through trials,
Yeah.
and it's because you're hiding yourself, you say, yeah, I don't really want to go through them trials anymore. Yeah, and then you go through another trial, you say, that one was a little tougher than the last one. And then God starts saying, I'm extending your life
Wow.
because I have a plan and a purpose for you. So even though I was hiding myself, God was saying, I'm still pulling you out.
That's good.
He'll never leave you. He'll
you,
never
Jesus.
forsake you. He'll be with you until the end of time. I am a living testimony. God is a healer. God is a deliverer. If you've never gone, you can't have a testimony without a test.
That's right.
Wow.
And I have them all because I hid myself. And God is saying, not anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I began to start to show myself. And not even the arena of, oh, I need to preach here, I want to preach there, but the way God wants to do it in me and through me.
That's
And so I'm so grateful because I'm no longer hidden. I can see the benefits of it. My body is healing. My mind is healing. My emotions
Thank
is
you,
healing.
Jesus.
My family is healing. Everything that God promised me that I could have, even hidden, He's saying it's still available for you.
That is so good that you say that too, because of course we've been friends for for over 3 decades. We've been friends for a very, very long time. And it's funny because how God can strategically put people in your life to help bring that about. And it's funny because you've always been behind the scenes, but even us connecting, we connected because I came to find who is this person my brother was talking to, who is this he's on the phone with. We had never met, and I said, I'm gonna come over your house. Who is it? And it's kind of like some people be like, I don't know you, you're not coming over my house. She was like, sure. And we've been friends ever since. And the thing is this, I've seen you hide yourself in the bushes, but I've seen some of the and the thing is this, you may be hiding yourself physically, but it's affecting you spiritually and emotionally in other ways. And I've seen you go through some things because of that. Share that with us.
Well, I've gone through different stages in my life. I've had to have a triple bypass at a young age. I've had a stroke at a young age.
And we weren't even, how old were you?
I was 38 when I had triple bypass
Oh, Jesus.
and 41 when I had a stroke. Oh, wow. And God has kept me through it all because He had a plan for me. He knew my heart was saying yes, but everything else in me was saying, I can't do it.
Right.
It's not in me to do it, God. I don't know if I can speak in front of people. And every time I would open my mouth, He would just speak through me. And so I knew in my heart and in my mind, I could do it. But my flesh said, you're not ready for that. But God is saying, either you're going to do it or you're going to die.
Wow. Jesus.
Because he doesn't want anything to govern over you other than himself. And so now I won't hide myself anymore. You want to take a picture? Are we taking a picture? You need me to say something?
I love it.
I'm going to say something.
Right.
And it's all going to be God behind it because I'm nothing without him.
Yeah.
And I realize that through the trials and the tribulations that I've gone through. He's healed me each and every time. Every day he heals me even more. And so anybody that's going through that, stop hiding yourself.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to go through the things that I've gone through. Mentally, physically, emotionally. It is draining. It will deplete you. And you don't want to go through that. You want to live a good life, a healthy life. He came to give us life and that much more abundantly. And we're so thankful. I'm so thankful that he chose to extend my life. I get to see my grandkids. I get to do what he wants me to do. I get to feed people I've never met.
Yeah.
Each and every day is something different, and I'm grateful to God.
That is wonderful, wonderful.
awesome.
And I want to go even further than that with you, because some people are going, oh my gosh, that's great. That's great. That sounds like me. That resonates with me. That resonates with my life. But what happens when you begin to come out of those bushes? And there are people who were used to you being in the bushes. They were used to you being more vulnerable. They were used to you being out of sight. They were used to all those things. They were used to taking advantage of you. They were used to over talking you. They were used to being dismissive towards you. What happens when you begin to cast not away your confidence? And that confidence rises as God rises, as you rise out of the bushes. So what happens with, what are some things that can happen, and how do people deal with that?
Well, that's one of my favorite scriptures, Hebrews 10 and 14. And when you begin to come out of being behind the scenes for so long, the people who anticipated you staying down begin to scatter.
Wow.
And so then you start experiencing loneliness. And why am I going through this? And God is saying, because you were hidden too long.
Wow.
I've had a whole church closed down because I was hid. Not the church I think of, but the other church. Because I hid myself. And I didn't want God to use me because I'm like, oh my God. But it'll close churches because you're out of order.
Yeah.
And so God is now bringing me back into his divine order. There's some order and then there's divine order. And so I'm so grateful because you'll see people that you say, oh, I never could think that they could say that or do that, or why are they trying to treat me like this? And it's because you're not hidden anymore. And so although you will help them being glorified, now when you remove that glory, where are they at?
Right.
And so that's an important part to play in life, is that you don't want to hide yourself, because when you come out, you bring interruption into the pattern of other people.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
To piggyback off of just like hiding yourself, just making sure you're staying in the will of God, because if God wants you at the forefront, but you want to hide yourself, you're out of his will. And anything out of his will, you have to obtain. Anything inside of the will of God, he'll obtain. But anything outside of his will, you have to obtain. And it's hard to obtain anything without God. So I think just being in, just reminding yourself to just go on the path that he's leading you on, because you can't do it by yourself.
That's right. And this is such an excellent topic, because you think about it in the Bible. When man sinned, the first thing they did was try to hide themselves. They tried to cover themselves. And this is the thing. A lot of times you got people who are hiding from God in the bushes of sin. They're hiding from God. They're hiding in the bushes because they're like, I don't want God to see me and call me out. And God is saying, I see you in the bushes. I see you in the open. I see you in the field. I see you on the mountain, in the valley. And you can never hide from God. And it's David in the Bible who says, even if I made my bed in hell, I can't escape you. You can't escape God. So it's important to be where God calls you to be at all times. And if that's in the bushes or out the bushes or however God decides to do it, know that you're beautiful. But when you're in those bushes, even when you're in sin in those bushes, you're still beautiful. You're still loved. God still loves you. He just wants to deliver you, set you free, and bring you out of there. You know, he wants his beauty to shine through you. He wants you to come out those bushes and give him exchange. It's an exchange. It's not that God just gives you beauty. He says, but I need your ashes. I'll give you the beauty, but you got to give me your ashes. Because your ashes and God's beauty, they don't coexist together. It's what Isaiah 61:3 that says he'll give you beauty for your ashes. You know, he'll give you joy for your sadness. So I love that. I love that because there are so many people, especially in this day and age, who are going through a lot of emotional and even mental challenges and strains. And we have to learn how to deal with that. We need to learn how to deal with that. There are also situations where people can be in the bushes out of feeling insecure. They just feel like they don't measure up to the people who appear to be in the spotlight. And they'd rather stay in the bushes because they keep comparing themselves. Maya, I want you to speak on that. If that's ever been your experience or someone even you know, how would one deal with something like that?
I think especially when it comes to feeling insecure about things or feeling like you have to hide yourself, that you have to realize, number one, that it's the enemy. The main areas I feel like the enemy fights the most are the areas where we're supposed to come against him. And if you don't come against him, he'll come against you. If you don't walk in your purpose, I think Auntie Alicia said it best, but when you don't do what God tell you to do, the enemy like, oh, well, I'm going to take you down before you can take me down. So he'll fight you with depression when you're supposed to come against depression and help other people. He'll fight you in your health when you're supposed to speak healing over others. He'll fight you, but these are the areas that God assigned you to help other people. And so to go back to what you were saying, I think when the enemy tries to fight us with insecurity and things like that, 9 times out of 10, it's because it was something that you were assigned to do. And you have to come against that and not come in not to get spiritual, but you have to detach yourself.
You know what?
Yeah.
To get spiritual, because we start out as spirit beings having a human experience. So by all means.
Yeah. And so, but you have to disconnect yourself. You can't come in agreement with that. You have to tell that to go like, no, insecurity, you cannot have me. You can't have my purpose. You can't have who God has called me to be. But no longer will I be in covenant with you. No longer will I accept this, but I'm going to walk in my purpose and in my assignment. And so I think it's so important that when that does try to come against you, to identify that it is a spirit, because God has not given us insecurity. He hasn't given us fear. But, he's given us power, love, and of a sound mind. And so coming against it, detaching yourself from it, and then walking boldly in the purpose of God. And then the last thing I want to say is sometimes you have to do things when you feel afraid. Like immediately, sometimes the prayer, you don't feel it right away kick in, but it's working. And you have to step out on faith. And when you step out, then it break off of your life. Then the fear, then the insecurity, then the heaviness you've been carrying. God is like, okay, now I'm about to do some things through you. And so, yeah.
I think that's awesome. And you know what? I want to touch on this one thing. I want to touch on how a lot of times within family, because we're all family here, a lot of ways, we talked in a previous segment how to fortify your family from the enemy coming in wreaking havoc, for generations and planting destructive seeds, and that's going on generations and generations and generations. I've noticed even in our family, and I'm just going to keep it 1,000, and we don't even keep it 100, 1,000. It has been jealousy. It's been envy. And sometimes it's coming from a place it's been systemic. And it rises from just insecurities. And what happens is people begin to compare themselves to other family members. And it's, I don't like her attitude. Or she thinks she all that. And, it's not about that. It's about embracing your individuality, embracing who God made you to be, and being fine with that, being okay with that. It's okay. You don't have to be me. I don't want to be you. And it's okay that I don't want to be you and you don't want to be me. We're going to embrace our individuality. I have 6 daughters. And, people used to say all kind of things about having 6 daughters. I thank God for every last one of my children. Every last one of my daughters are beautiful, and not just about, outer beauty, but beauty within that radiates out, very gifted, but they all are very different. They embrace their own individuality. And I've always encouraged them to do that and be confident in who you are. You don't have to compare yourself to your sister. You know what you do? You encourage one another. That's an exchange. Beauty is an exchange, you know? And so I exchanged the beauty of encouragement, you for your beauty of confidence, for your beauty of maybe a word of knowledge, and you know what I mean. It's an exchange. God said we're made in His image, and everything He made was good and beautiful. And we should be able to do that, especially as a family. I think a lot of people are not able to do that with people that they know, maybe coworkers or, classmates and other peers and just people in general, because they didn't learn how to do it within their own families. Because certain things may have been sewn into the fabric of that DNA or that family, those curses. And so that's what we want to break.
I just want us to say, too, I think when it comes to that, especially breaking the spirit of jealousy, when you allow it in, you really have to practice at loving on other people and being happy for them. Mm-hmm. And that's how you kick it out. And two, by identifying this is an issue, bringing it to God and allowing Him to heal you. I think some people are prideful when they deal with it, and they don't want to say this is an issue or this is when it's okay to be real with God. Mm-hmm. It's okay to say, man, I feel like this person has this or they're married and I don't have it. And God is like, you can have the same thing. Right. And I think that's what's important is that we have to know what one person has, God can do the same for you if you obey and trust Him. That's right. And so, yeah.
I also think in this generation, especially for my age group, that a lot of people are on social media and they just look at so many other lives you could see. But I think it's important to just sit with yourself and deal with the reality of your life and what you have going on and how you can build yourself up and stop trying to compare yourself to other people. Because a lot of people you see on social media is not even living the life that they're portraying. So I think it's important to just really sit with yourself and deal with the reality of your life and stop trying to make your life other people's lives, because 9 times out of 10, it's not even the life that they're actually living.
That's great. Oh my gosh, as always, it's always an amazing time when we have this time here and I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. And this is not it. This is not it. Stay tuned. It's going to be more and more and more and more and more and more. And we thank you so much for joining us today for A Child Wife, Her Life, and the Love Test. Thank you. All right.